All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday, April 18th. We got just 5 MLB games to dive into in today's video like we always do. We're going to go through each and every one of these games, so all 5 of them. I'll give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that I like within the game as well. But as always, all of my final plays, so what I'm actually rolling with myself, those will be listed in the pinned comments. Make sure to keep an eye on that. And man, oh man, am I glad that some of those series from, last week are over, because that was a bloodbath. I feel like we had to work a million hours a week or something doing heavy lifting just to stay afloat during that week. So last night, not the worst night there. Decent amount of wins, just as many losses. We did have a couple pushes in there. So, not a positive night, not something that's actually going to, kill us or ruin our day or ruin our momentum for here. But like I said, a lot of those series, if you guys have been watching day to day, it's been like we have a first 5 line or first 5 money line, and they're up by 1 heading into the 5th, and the bottom of the 5th, either, the team ties or goes over. It was a bloodbath. So happy to see some of those series in our rear view. We do have a couple, that we've been looking at for the last couple days today, but then a couple new series. So hopefully that'll be a nice little change up there. In terms of our daily dinger, shout out to main event here. Kyle Schwarber goes deep, cash it. If you guys don't know what the daily dinger is, just use hashtag daily dinger in the comments and list a player that you think is going to hit a home run, just like main event did yesterday. And then come tomorrow's video, I'll pick someone that got it right, and you have a chance at getting a shout out in the next video. So go ahead and do that. Use hashtag daily dinger. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We had a great NBA night last night, but this is an MLB video, so let's lock it back in and get the train back on the tracks. Let's look at game number 1 here. But like I said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're pretty damn close to 69,000 subscribers. Nice. Let's go. Tampa Bay taking on the Angels here in this spot. So far in this series, it's funny because I haven't bet it, right? Like, this has not been a spot in which I've bet this series, except for, I want to say, Tampa Bay first 5 in game number 2, and it didn't even hit. But I keep saying, like, this should be on paper, not even on paper, like from a bird's eye view, Tampa Bay series all day long. But every single game, when you look deeper into it and deeper into the numbers, it's like, no, the Angels actually have like a position here, a spot here in which they could look pretty good. And they've taken 2 of the 3 so far. So I guess kudos to them, honestly. Today, I don't think that's going to be the case. I am on Tampa Bay today, but keep that in mind. You can always fade me because I've been saying I'm on Tampa Bay, but there's a lane for the Angels. I just don't see the lane for the Angels today. You have Ryan Pourpois on the mound. Still don't know if I'm saying his name right. On the mound for Tampa Bay. Definitely off to a better start than Griffin Canning. Neither pitcher, I would say, has been a stud to start the year, but Canning hasn't shown us any good starts yet. Through 3, he's got a 9.88 ERA, yikes, a 1.83 whip, yikes, and then a FIP of 7.3, big yikes. Compared to Ryan Pourpois here, 5.4 ERA, but his ERA, expected ERA here drops a little bit, so he's got a 5.4 ERA, but it drops to 3.04 for an expected ERA, which is a good sign for some progression. And then his whip is at a 1.02, the FIP at a 4.04, not great, but like I said, that expected ERA looks a little bit better, so I think that we can potentially expect some progression from him, and this is probably a good spot to do it against these LA bats, against righties. Mediocre at best in every category. The problem is that's what Tampa Bay is doing too. Like, they're not batting righties all that well, so this shouldn't be the highest of scoring games if you look at it solely from offense. I don't know if these pitchers are going to be able to hold these offenses down, but nonetheless, I do think that I'm going to lean towards Tampa Bay. But based on their bullpen, not even just their available bullpen, just like their bullpen in general, I don't know if I can get there. But even their available bullpen is really, really looking tough. They're going to be without some arms today for sure. Tons of guys in that bullpen have pitched recently as of late. So I'm going to lean towards Tampa Bay on the first 5 here. I would even consider it first 5 run line, meaning, minus the half run, because you might be able to get some good odds there. But if not, if you want to play it safe and have that push potential, which again, I've said in multiple videos, first 5 money line means they have to be winning afterwards for you to cash. But if they're tied, you don't lose because they tied, right? But first 5 run line, if you take them, it's minus a half of a run, meaning they have to be winning by at least 1 run, or you do lose. I'd consider that today. Keep an eye on the pinned comment for it. In terms of a total, like I said, these bats kind of, shouldn't be all that great. I just don't know if the pitchers can hold these two teams down. And if the Angels continue like even a little bit of what they've done offensively, I think the Rays bats come more alive today. So even though I don't really think I'm going to bet it personally and make it a final play, I'm going to lean towards the over because I do think that, like I originally even said, I don't know if this would be a high-scoring game, right? But the pitching and the bullpens, like neither one of which are sending me over the moon and saying, yeah, this could be 9 innings of low-scoring baseball. It's like there could be mistakes made out there. So reluctantly, I'm going to lean towards the over. But like I said, that's just if I had a gun to my head, and that's a side that I would take. In terms of any player props, nothing jumping off the page to me, my catchphrase, here in this spot. We do have a spot that, you know, I could see myself pulling the trigger. But like I said, I had to do some deep digging for this one. It's going to be Mickey Moniak, under 1.5 strikeouts. And he strikes out a decent amount against right-handed pitchers. Papoy being a right-handed pitcher. But Papoy, his strikeout percentage, so it's at a 30% right now, right? Which is very good. I expect that to come down a little bit. He's more of like, what would I say? Probably more of like a 24% guy, right? But using last year's data as an example, versus left-handed batters, his strikeout percentage and strikeout rate drops to 17%. So that's a tough number to get a guy to strike out twice. This is not Mickey Moniak under 0.5 strikeouts. For minus 130 odds on DraftKings, you're getting this at under 1.5. So he just needs to strike out not twice, right? He can strike out once, just not twice, which he's only hit this 2 times. He hit the over twice this year, so he's been under an 87% of games. But I'll give you both sides of the coin here. He's kind of not an anomaly, but not many guys, you know, their strikeout rate jumps against fastballs. His strikeout rate jumps 3 points against fastballs, and Papa throws a lot of fastballs here, but he throws a lot of changeups, and his strikeout rate drops with changeups. So Mickey Moniak, under 1.5 strikeouts. It's not the sexy pick, but you guys know I think under in strikeouts for batters is an electric bet. So we did some digging and at least found one for you. All right, real quick, before we get to the rest of the slate, I want to talk to you about Sleeper. If you don't know what Sleeper is, instead of betting on games and totals and whatnot, you bet on MLB player props. They also have all the other sports as well, but you combine 2 or more player props into a slip, and the more you win and get correct, the more you get paid out based on their props and the lines you choose. They also have alternate lines, but right now you can sign up using the link in the pinned comment. You can also just download Sleeper Picks and use code GUYBOSTON, GUYBOSTON. They're going to match your first deposit. They may even be still doing the up to $500. So you could throw in $500, they'll match it. You'll have a new account playable balance of $1,000. You could throw in $50, they'll match it. You'll have an account balance of $100. All good stuff, and new users can get this Logan Webb Square today. Is it free? Not necessarily. You can never guarantee a strikeout, but he should be able to strike out at least one guy here. So 0.5 strikeouts, and they're dropping discount squares all the time. We talked about Sleeper yesterday. We shouted out the Trae Young free square, and then they dropped 3 discounts throughout the day. 3. 1 baseball and 2 more basketball. So Sleeper hooks it up for the people, guys. If it's available in your state, go check it out. And again, they'll match your first deposit and you get this free square. Sleeper, that link is going to be in the pinned comment. I've been using this app for a long time, and it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, player prop app out there right now. Go check it out. That's Sleeper, link in the pinned comment. Let's jump into the rest of these games here. All right, next up we have Detroit taking on Texas. We'll talk about the side and then the total, but I have 3 player props that are more like EV plays, kind of juiced, more likely to hit plays. So we'll talk about those, but again, it's going to be pretty important which sportsbook you take those on, but we'll get to that. Detroit starting Kenta Maeda here. In terms of who we have on the mound for Texas, we have Jack Leiter, who, you know, I don't know too much about, and he obviously hasn't faced anyone on this Texas team. So mixed bag there. We don't know exactly what we're going to get out of the prospect for Texas here. His minor league stats, they look okay, but you know, I would never really want to judge off of that. I think his 2024 stats were really good, if I'm not mistaken, or 2023, excuse me. But again, not really going to put a lot of weight into stats in which we may not have value taking. So Kenta Maeda, we know, we have seen, but he hasn't been all that great to start the year. So you have a guy that has 3 starts under his belt. He's gotten better and better, but he's faced off against the White Sox, the Oakland A's, and then Minnesota, and he's kind of gotten hit around. So like 3 teams that you pitchers can definitely have some success against, yet he still yields a 6 ERA with a 6.53 FIP. So I don't necessarily sit here and say, oh, newbie on the mound for Texas, like auto go to Detroit. I don't think so, because this Texas lineup versus righties this year has been good. On the road, they haven't necessarily been all that great. But let's flash up the dashboard here. And by the way, guys, link to the dashboard will be in the pinned comment. Get this while you can. It's a super cool tool that we've built and spent a lot of time on, and we're building more and more into it for each and every game. We have pitching, bullpen, batting, and then batting home away splits and that type of thing, but for each and every game. And link will be in there. It's going to be probably just exclusive to the ballers, the channel members, who pay $2.99 a month, pretty damn soon. But for now, I'm offering it to everyone. So go ahead and check it out. But look at this Detroit against right-handed pitchers and then against right-handed pitchers. We don't have any stats about, the pitcher here, but we do know he's a righty. So I think I'm going to lean towards Texas in this spot, even though we may be, kind of rolling the dice there, but for near even odds, I think that Texas could be the play offensively. And again, I'm kind of basing that on the fact that Kenta Maeda, it's not like they're trying to stud out, right? Like, even though he kind of let us down yesterday, but Tariq Screwball, if he was on the mound for Detroit going up against Jack Leader or Leiter, it's like, yeah, I could see the argument being made for Detroit, but Maeda, 37 plate appearances against these current Texas Rangers, 324 average, a 416 WOBA, an expected batting average today of 306, expected slugging of 442. So it's just like, I don't necessarily sit here and say, yeah, Maeda could cook them. Now, the smart, or not the smart bet, but the more logical bet would be to wait this one out. And if you are going to bet, maybe trust a pitcher that has some experience. But I think I'm going to trust the bats here today. This Rays lineup, or excuse me, this Rangers lineup isn't the crazy good lineup that everyone thinks, but they will have Garcia and Seager in the lineup today. And they just they're coming off of a win yesterday, right? So maybe there's a little in the come from behind win, or late heroics win. So I do think that this could be a little momentum booster. So give me Texas in this spot, but I would only trust them through the first 5, because who knows what this pitcher is going to give you, right? But we know that the bullpen's not going to give us all that much. And we kind of saw yesterday, allowing Detroit to get back into that game, right? So give me them on the first 5. In terms of a total here, it's tough because I'm sitting here rooting for Texas's offense, but I don't think I can trust the Detroit Tigers to go out there and put up runs based on what we're seeing there. And yesterday's game seems like they were pulling teeth to get to 9 runs, right? And a 5-4 finish did it take extras? I believe it did. Maybe the bottom of the 9th, if anything. But yeah, I'm going to lean towards the under here because, like I said, it was pulling teeth just to get to 9 runs yesterday. All right, now a couple player props that are like my favorite one here, and this is minus 145 over on Fanatics. On most other sports books, you're looking at a decently juiced play at minus 180-ish, so that's why it's super important to pull trigger on this over on Fanatics. But Javier Baez under 1.5 total bases. The dude has hit the under here in 15 of 16 games to start the season. On the year, he's batting just 143, ISO of 61, extra base hit percentage 14. Like, he's just not looking all that great here. And it is a righty on righty matchup as well. And his only time that he's hit it, it's because he went deep and he hit a home run. So he's really not getting multiple hits, nor is he going out there and getting, extra base hits either. So under 1.5 bases for Javier Baez. Again, I would not pay juice through the moon. If you can get that at minus 180 or something, I'm like, no, don't touch it. If you have Fanatics or a book that offers this in the minus 140-ish range, I would pull the trigger. A couple others here, and these are very much juiced already, so I don't know if we pull the trigger on them, but I could see a little positive EV parlay happening. Spencer Torkelson over 0.5 hits is minus 180 on FanDuel. Yeah, you're probably like, minus 180, right? But it's a minus 235 average on most sports books. That seems like it could be a nice little spot. And then Colt Keith, same thing, minus 180 on FanDuel, minus 220 on most sports books. So maybe a little pairing of those two in a parlay if we can get it, if FanDuel doesn't adjust their lines quickly, could be a little spot. But like I told you, very imperative on what sports books you're taking those on, because you don't want to be paying the minus 200 just because dumb Ev over here is telling you I like that play. I like it for the price on FanDuel compared to other books. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense there. All right, next up, we got the Red Sox taking on the Guardians. Tanner Houck was absolutely dealing last night. Complete game, 9 strikeouts, 2-0 game, and I wanted to pull the trigger like I said in yesterday's video and didn't. So, Would have been a nice win to back Tanner Houck. But nonetheless, guys, we have a new day here, and this is a weird one. So on the mound for Cleveland is going to be Carlos Carrasco. We know him. On the mound for the Red Sox to start is going to be Brennan Bernardino, but then pitching for the most of the game is going to be Cooper Criswell, who even as a Celtics fan, I sit here and I'm like, what are we doing? Celtics fan. I am a Celtics fan, but even as a Red Sox fan, I sit here and I'm like, what are we doing? So this is going to be a tough one to judge overall, but we know that, Cleveland is good against lefties, but they're probably only going to see Brennan Bernardino for about, one, maybe two maximum innings. They bat lefties really, really, really well. Righties, they kind of come back down to earth, and we even just saw it with Tanner Houck, right? So you look at this. So, for example, we don't have any... I guess I'll just say, for example, we have all this green for Cleveland, and the algorithm is saying, yeah, strong batting edge for them. But we got to remember, this is an opener that they're going up against, right? This is not a guy that's going to give you 5 innings plus Bernardino. So I kind of throw the Cleveland edge of batting out the window. But even with, Carrasco, who's on the mound for Cleveland, hasn't had the best of seasons. I can't really get behind like the Red Sox. They're kind of doing all right, let's close out this series. We'll throw the relief pitcher, and then we'll throw another relief pitcher and see what happens in a sense. Tanner Houck was a superhero last night in being able to eat up those bullpen arms because Jansen. So if Houck didn't go complete game, Jansen had already pitched the day before yesterday. So did Martin. So did Wachowski. So did Bernardino. So did Weissert. So did Rodriguez. He needed to do that. Now they have a fresh bullpen, so that's a good sign at least. I think the edge on Cleveland kind of goes away a little bit here because they're going to go to a righty after, and they should be going to a righty at least after Bernardino. So I'm going to actually lean towards the Red Sox. Maybe there's a little juice in that tank after a big win yesterday. And I could see both these teams having 2 wins in this series, which would be the result. Cleveland wins the first 2, Red Sox win the second 2. The problem is Red Sox do have to go to Pittsburgh right after this game, but that's not the biggest of, travels. It's not like they're going cross country to play tomorrow. Cleveland has to go cross country to Oakland to play the A's, so they're probably dreading that a little bit more than the Red Sox travel is. So give me the Red Sox on the money line here, and I think the odds obviously show it too. Cleveland is plus money. Red Sox are minus 116. The books know that, yeah, this like pitching thing that the Red Sox going on isn't necessarily as much of an advantage for Cleveland as it may seem. In terms of a total here, I like the over 8.5 for sure. I'd actually maybe potentially ladder, over 8, over 8.5, and then even over 9.5 for plus money. One thing I'll say is, I just talked about these pitchers and whatnot. I don't think that either one of these pitchers or pitching rotations that we'll see from the Red Sox are going to be nails. So I could see runs kind of just throughout the game in a sense. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with that, to be honest. I just think we could see a couple innings where we have 2 runs scored, and then 2 innings later it's 3 runs scored, and it's before you look up, this game's at 10. So maybe I'm completely wrong about that. I have been a lot lately, but I like the over in this spot. All right, Cubs taking on Miami here. This is a Miami team that's obviously been in some sticky situations this entire season. Yet to win a series. They're 4-15 on the year. The Cubs coming off of a nice one series against Arizona. Those games were freaking weird, but nonetheless, they win 2 of the 3. And they're playing decent baseball. Today they have a known name, Jameson Taillon. On the mound for them, yet to pitch this season, but in his last 5 starts, 2 flat ERA, average 5.2 innings pitched, going up against AJ Puck here, who I will say has gotten better and better in his starts, but I still need to see more from AJ Puke here if I can trust it, you know what I mean? And going up against a Cubs team that just absolutely steamrolls lefties so far on the season. Overall, lefties looking really good, and at home looking really good as well. The only reason this is yellow is due to the fact that we're looking at a team that doesn't walk because they're obviously getting a lot of hits against lefties. So I do think this is going to be a tough matchup for AJ Puck. In terms of what we're looking at from a side perspective, I would lean towards the Cubs here. I don't know if I would go first 5 or full game because the Cubs bullpen I really don't trust. But if you look at Miami's bullpen, you can say, okay, well, let's take a chance because that bullpen, whether they're taxed and have thrown a lot or not, they stink. So I do sit there and I'm like, maybe we go full game here. And the Cubs, the Miami bullpen should be fairly fresh as well. They have a few middle relievers that should be good to go. So they could have a short leash on AJ Puk as well. So maybe this is a spot in which I go full first 5 for the Cubs, right? Maybe even team total for the Cubs. And then once we get the line, we don't have it right now, potentially looking at AJ Puk's under in outs, which depends on the line, but I don't necessarily hate that. My problem here is we don't necessarily know exactly what we're getting out of James and Tyon, right? It's like, okay, like, yeah, we're betting on this offense and all that, but what if this guy for the first start of his year gets crushed, and Miami, as weird as it is batting okay on the road here against right-handed pitchers, which that is Tyon's side. So yeah, there is a lane to, I'm not saying there's a lane to get to Miami, but there may be a lane to say, okay, you know what, maybe this isn't the spot in which we go, Cubs first 5, Cubs team total, under and Puck. Like, we're really picking a side there, right? All of those are correlated to the Cubs kind of crushing. But so maybe we kind of be more conservative and just say, all right, Ev, you love all those picks, right? Pick one, So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see what we roll with. But I do think that, the numbers would agree with me. It's just kind of like the wild card of Tyon out there. So we'll see what we go with. In terms of the total here in this spot, I actually did go back and forth in this one because you can make the argument that, like I said, Cubs are going to go off, right? But is Miami definitely going to? And I see Miami, they do bat righties well on the road, 6th best average for righties on the road, against righties on the road, 4th best WRC plus, OPS, ISO, slugging, all top 5. So maybe there's a little concern here for Tyon and even that Cubs bullpen late in the game. So I'll lean towards the over 8 runs here. It is kind of scary. We know that, taking an over for Miami, though. Like it doesn't matter what these stats say in terms of their away stats. Like, it's still early on in the year in terms of how many at bats they have against away, but nonetheless, I'm gonna lean towards the over here in this spot. No major player props other than potentially monitoring that AJ Puk outs line. All right, before we do get to the rest of the video, I want to shout out our merch brand, Fade Me. If you guys do want to check it out and support us here, go ahead, head over to fademe.store. You can use code MLB and save today at checkout. I am rocking the They Don't Boo Nobody's vacay tee. It's a nice little, I guess, I don't even know what you'd call it, ombre. Fade Me in the front, but in the back you can see, don't know if you can really see that, but it says They Don't Boo Nobodies. Someone having a nice drink under the umbrella watching the sun down. As all the haters are chirping and the guppies are chirping, we can just say, hey, we're doing us, right? So go ahead and check it out, guys. That link is going to be in the pinned comment as well. We do have tons of stuff over there. Our Gambler collection, one of our best-selling collections, which still blows my mind. I have all this product as well, but this is one of our best-selling collections, and it's probably just because it's so sleek and simple. And you can walk around the streets with a shirt that says Gambler, and people are like, oh, or it could say GL, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like a, if you know, you know. But nonetheless, guys, go ahead and check it out if you don't mind. Again, code MLB to save at checkout for today only. I'm not posting that on Twitter or Instagram or anything like that. It's just going to be if you hear this right now. So, you know what? Let's even play with the guppies. If you're watching this right now, comment MLB in the comments, because we're literally saying right to the people that aren't paying attention, here's a discount, here's a discount, here's a discount. They don't even know what it means if they didn't make it this far into the video. Comment MLB in the comments, and we'll troll with some guppies there. But let's go ahead and move back on to the rest of the slate, aka the last game of the slate. I had San Francisco taking on Arizona here. This is kind of a weird one for me. Just looking at this line, I question, like, why the hell is San Francisco so heavily favored? I get it, they're at home, but they're coming from Miami, right? They were in Miami. Now they fly cross country to San Francisco. It's not like it's much better for Arizona going from Chicago to San Francisco, playing the next day for both these guys. But overall, like, I just don't necessarily see where the edge is here. So let's jump into our dashboard. Yeah, there's definitely a pitching edge for Logan Webb, right? Ryan Nelson hasn't looked all that good, but in his last 3 starts against San Francisco, he's got a 2.3 ERA, so it's not all that bad. The batting, sure, you can give a slight edge to, I guess, San Francisco, but they're just mediocre in some spots. Like, you can even see our algorithm says this is closer than it may appear, because look at this. Batting at home for San Francisco against righties has been abysmal. And at least Arizona's walking a lot, getting on base, and not striking out. So are they bringing guys in? Not necessarily, because they're good at that, good at getting guys on base, and you even see their WRC plus and whatnot isn't all that great. But that's enough for me to say for plus 150 Arizona money line, it could be enough for me to say, okay, let's pull the trigger. Bullpen edge probably goes to Arizona as well. San Francisco's middle reliever, as well as I want to say their setup man and closer went tomorrow, whereas Arizona should have a fairly healthy bullpen. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here. I'm looking at the lineup. Nothing is glaring of who's out of the lineup. I see Marte, Carroll, Gurriel, Walker, Peterson, Suarez, Moreno. Like, I see the main guys. San Francisco, it's the math ain't math for me in this one. So if you can tell me why in the comments, like what's going on here, tell me why is this line where it is? Because to me, it's like there's value in taking the flyer. Is it truly because it's Ryan Nelson, who's been kind of abysmal to start the year, up against Logan Webb, who's been good and is a good pitcher? Because if that's the case, then fine, but I don't necessarily think that this is a great spot for that. So I'm also going to take a peek at Logan Webb's over in earned runs at 2.5. I think that the Cardinals, I think the Diamondbacks, the way that they are batting on the road here against righties, getting guys on base and stuff, I think that they bring some players in today. So yeah, maybe I'm, again, just like the last game we looked at, getting a little bit too comfortable with one side here. So all of a sudden I like the Diamondbacks, and then I'm like, oh yeah, Logan Webb over 2.5 earned runs, but for plus 130, that seems like it could be a decent spot for me here. So yeah, like I don't know, it just doesn't make much sense to me. So if you guys have any inside info as to why San Francisco's so heavily favored, and they gotta be, let me know, because I'm clearly a dummy in the room. I'm missing something here. Give me Arizona on the money line for some big money. In terms of a game total, it's sitting at 8 as of right now. I guess if I think Logan Webb's gonna, not be as great as he seems, I'm gonna lean towards the over in this spot. I think Arizona gets on base, scores some runs, and I'm not gonna tell you that Ryan Nelson's gonna shut down the Giants' offense. So there should be some runs there as well. But guys, that's gonna wrap for today's show. I'm glad we kind of ended it on like a head scratcher, but we might pull trigger on that. But yeah, 5 games in, 5 games done. We still managed to make a 26-minute video, which is absolutely crazy. So if you made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment 26. I know we already did the MLB, so all good if not. But I will take a couple seconds here because I've seen a lot of positive comments. I've also seen a lot of negative comments of people being like, you're talking too much through these games. Don't go through every game, blah, 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 right? I've seen enough positive to say, hey, screw the people that are saying change how it works. We're going to stick with the format. Unless we're on vacation or something like that, we're going to go through each and every game, each and every day. We will be on vacation, as of Monday, in Mexico, so we probably for a week, 5 days or so, will have the videos in which I just give you my 3 to 5 favorite plays of the day, which is hopefully you guys can understand that's a way that we can not miss days and continue to grind our asses off while on vacation. Like going through an entire slate, if you guys are watching a 45-minute video, just think about how long, 1, that took to record, 2, that took to edit, 3, it took to research, and then 4, even just uploading. Like there's so many things that, if I'm on vacation, we got to go with more of a hybrid short form road game type video. So yeah, don't really know what the rant was there. It was pretty much saying, screw the haters, we're going to keep doing what we're doing here, and going through each and every game, with the exception of being on vacation, which I'm hoping that the non-guppies, the real ones out there, you guys understand. But I'm rambling at this point. Love you guys, appreciate you for all of the support, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.